Hello and welcome to Total Sports Plus. I'm Blake Fox alongside the head coach of LaSalle men's basketball, Ashley Howard. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you, Blake. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So I just want to start off by asking you, you coached at Villanova for 5 years and now you're in your second year, you're beginning your second year at LaSalle. What's the main difference you found between the two schools?
I think the main difference is, Villanova has a long tradition that has been sustained through the last, 40 years, where at LaSalle we had a little bit of a gap in between our glory days as a basketball program. But prior to the mid-90s, LaSalle had just as much of a tradition as Villanova. Both schools up until the mid-90s had a national championship, had multiple NBA players, had great success in the Big Five. And then, from the mid-90s up to modern day, Villanova's really taken off as one of the premier programs in college basketball. It's my job to try to get that history, that tradition back to 20th and Alany. And it's a task that I'm excited about taking over.
Yeah. So in the beginning of last year, you started off 0-10, then you got the win against Alabama A&M, and you went on to win a mid-season tournament against Towson in Atlantic City. Mm-hmm. And then you eventually went on after the 0-10 start to have an over 500 record by a game or two. Mm-hmm. What did you tell your players mid-season once there was that point in time where it was maybe a bit frustrating as a team, and how did you build upon that and end up as finishing the season fairly strong?
It wasn't anything that I told them at that point. It was the fact that I just stayed consistent with my message all the way through, even being 0-10. We lost a lot of difficult games during that 0-10 stretch, and my message stayed consistent. We got to play harder. We got to play more together than our opponent. If we do that, then we'll have opportunity to win. If we don't, it's going to be hard for a young, inexperienced team to beat teams that are experienced and are veteran and have leadership. And then once we got to Atlantic City, we had an opportunity to play Alabama, A&M, and Towson, and we continued to do all the things that we talked about, and then we experienced the success of winning 2 games, and I think it was just reassuring to our players that, this actually works, and I think that helped us as we went into conference play just to continue to improve as the season went on.
Yeah. So this year at LaSalle, you have you have a strong recruiting class, some good 3-star players you've gotten. How are you able to recruit these players as you've done in Villanova, as well as you did at Villanova? What pitch are you giving them specifically in regards to LaSalle?
Just the opportunity to build a program and to do something that hasn't been done in a long time. The opportunity to play for a coach that's won championships at the highest level and who's helped develop NBA players. I think that's something that all young players are intrigued by, winning and player development. And that's our motto. I think the one thing that we can be the best at in college basketball is player development, something that we take a great deal of pride in. And I know that our young players are excited about developing in our program and taking this program to heights that it hasn't been in some time.
My final question is, you see 2 new coaches in the Big Five, Billy Lang and Aaron McKee. What would you tell them if they came up to you and asked for advice? How should they adjust into the Philadelphia basketball scheme as head coaches?
I think both of those guys, have their own basketball pedigree that makes them more than qualified to lead their programs. I would just tell those guys to both stay true to who they are and do things the way they see fit. Don't listen to the opinions of people, because at the end of the day, this is their opportunity, and they have to do things the way they believe in.
Okay, thank you for your time, and that's head coach Ashley Howard. Thank you.
Thank you, Blake.